But speaking of coming to the light, we hope that's what's happening over at Walt Disney Studios as they delayed production of the DEI remake of Snow White, or as Michael Knowles calls it, Sand Beige. And of course you can't forget the 7 diverse people. And when I say delayed production, that really means they delayed the release of the movie. Now, we've talked about Disney a few times on the show, but conservatives and non-progressive people alike had an issue with some of the red carpet conversations surrounding this movie. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But first of all, for those of you who are not conservatives, we just have a lot of problems with Disney as of the last 5 years or so, as they've made political ideology their central focus, as opposed to entertainment. You know, it's an entertainment company. In fact, I've listed out their woke interjections they've made in their films and streaming projects and TV shows, etc. They'll make characters sexually diverse for no reason other than to just pander to the LGBTQ crowd, or they'll remake a character as a minority ethnicity to pander to, you know, the critical theorists and the race warriors. And on the few occasions where such a decision has actually served the purpose of the narrative, it is a terrible story to begin with. But the bottom line is, an exponential number of parents and people are getting tired of the wokeness, which is economically proven. In fact, the last time I talked about Disney, I was showing you that Bob Iger, Disney CEO, said the company would, quote, quiet the noise on the culture war issues. Well, unfortunately, it was too late, because his new Snow White said these two things.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince, or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie,
right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But it's one of those things.
So true,
it's an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self, and she meets a lot of people along the way that make the journey really incredible.
So first of all, the only way this girl seems like a princess is that she acts like a spoiled brat. And Disney princesses have traditionally been excellently feminine. Miss Zegler is significantly less feminine. Her voice is deep, she's dressed oddly, and it's made even more obvious when she's literally standing next to Gal Gadot, who is playing the evil queen. It should be the other way around, for goodness sake. But Zegler is annoying and narcissistic. She's trashing the original film that so many people love, and all because it involves a romantic relationship. And what's wrong with that? Well, because Miss Zegler is a radical feminist. That's why she sounds the way she sounds and looks the way she looks and says the things she says. She casually joked about the male lead's character being cut from the film because it's Hollywood, baby. So this has clearly upset the apple cart, pun intended. and Disney has delayed the release of the movie another year. The Daily Mail reports, Disney is delaying the release of its live-action Snow White movie by a year for a major overhaul after star Rachel Zegler sparked anger with a tirade of woke fury. Walt Disney cited the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike as the major reason behind the decision, but cynics point to upcoming reshoots as proof Disney bosses fear they've made a $330 million turkey. Over the summer, the film received negative attention after it was revealed by the Daily Mail that the 7 dwarves were to be replaced by 7 magical non-dwarf creatures in an effort to keep the storytelling in line with the 21st century's commitment to political correctness. They were seen on the set of the movie and included a mix of men and women of different ethnicities with a real dwarf among their number. At first, Disney denied these pictures were from the set of the movie, but eventually backtracked. But in a new publicity shot, Snow White is seated and surrounded by 7 CGI dwarves, with the diverse originals nowhere to be seen. So Disney's not just going to can the project altogether, and I don't think they're going to recast and reshoot Zegler's role. I mean, she is the main character, though they've already canned the 7 diverse creatures to return to the animated dwarfs. So they've now given themselves almost a year and a half to salvage this beloved story. Now, I've got a crazy idea. Why don't they force Zegler to apologize? And maybe even cast some actual dwarves to play the live action parts, or sorry, little people. You know, I don't think there's enough little people or dwarf representation in Hollywood. I mean, who cares what Peter Dinklage thinks? Honestly, I hope it bombs. I hope the movie just tanks and people get fired. Sorry. Getting quality, good-priced meat products is proving to be increasingly difficult these days. With Bidenflation, the prices of everything in the store is just going through the roof. When you make fuel more expensive, that costs the farmer more, it costs the shipper more, it costs the grocer more, and it ultimately costs you more. That's why you need to check out Good Ranchers. They'll ship directly to your house. They're 100% American beef, chicken, seafood, and pork, all sourced from independent farms in the United States. Check the link in my show notes and use the code RANCHER1010 for 10% off their best-selling Ranchers Classic Box.